So I've been struggling with this thing, trying to figure out how I'm going to line this up. So this piece is by far the biggest pain in the ass so far. So this piece is turning to be more of a pain in the ass than I expected. So I kind of screwed up again. Okay, so it is the Thursday night. So while I was on lunch day at work, I picked up the new lights a couple days ago. But while I was on lunch day, I decided finally to break them out, try them out, and I got the exact same result. Plug it in the right way, no lights come on. Plug it in the wrong way, and it just turns blue and nothing else happens. So I decided to say screw it. I grabbed the crimper things for the wires and got the wires for coming from the receiver taken out, and I switched them. So I put the white to the positive and the black to the negative, which is the opposite of how the fan is wired, and it worked. So apparently there's no universal standard for wiring whatsoever. Any color wire could mean anything, and you just have to guess and see what the hell works. So I don't think I'm going to get to it tonight because I just got home and it's already basically dark. It's basically been dark all day. It's just been so cloudy lately, and it's already late. I'm going to go eat some food and then probably just relax, but either tomorrow night maybe, or if not, then Saturday morning definitely. Obviously I will be out here ripping off the yellow connectors for all this stuff and then putting it all back on now the correct way, which is white positive, black negative, and then that'll all be good, which means then I can basically just start putting the walls up for everything, because everything's done as far as wiring goes, so I can start walling stuff in and stuffing the insulation in there and all that fun stuff. So I'm glad I figured it out. Yeah, like I said, if you're ever doing any wiring, you basically just have to guess, hook things up and see if they work, and if not, switch it, see if that works, because any color could be anything. So I got lucky that the fan was just labeled. However, this stuff, they didn't intend for you to necessarily hook up this way. They had it hooked up to be plugged into a wall, so they, those were all just stuffed into that one kind of, I don't know, cable, whatever the hell you want to call it. And then when you open it up, you just have those, and there's no difference between a positive and negative wire, really. It's just that they're going to different parts, so there's no way just to tell by looking at it, other than I thought you could tell a difference by the color, but clearly not. So don't judge a wire by its color, I guess is the lesson here. But I would turn it on right now and show you, but I never crimped it back together or anything, so it wouldn't even work. You can see they're just kind of hanging out there. So yeah, I'm not going to worry about it right now. I'm ready to eat some food and relax. But I figure I'd just update here about the latest break in the story for the wiring. Alright, so I'll either be back out here tomorrow night or Saturday morning working on this fun stuff. Okay, so it is Friday night. So while I was on lunch today, I managed to get the yellow thing ripped off of the things for the top lights. So I don't know if these were already done or not when I filmed yesterday or whenever it was, but those are connected properly now, so they're all good to go. Flip the switch over here, so you can see that's the bottom one, and it lights up and the remote works for it. Changes all kinds of colors and stuff. So yeah, so there is that. And there's also apparently all kinds of like patterns and stuff. Let me see if I can do. Let's see. Yeah, so you can see it just keeps changing all kinds of colors. But I don't actually need that right now. Gotta flip that off. So now the next thing I do is connect the black wire to the other black wire, and then the white wire to the red wire, using those little yellow clip things, whatever the hell they're called. And then the only other wiring I think I need to do, I thought I was done wiring and then I remembered this. I need to hook up the negative on this so the light turns on when I flick on that switch there. Not the, you know, the lights itself over here, but the lights on the little button there. So yeah, so once I'm going to connect that right now. I don't know if I'm going to be in the mood to run negative wire up through the wall, not right now, but if not, then I'll deal with it tomorrow morning. And then the wiring will basically be done. The only thing left really is just getting this into place and putting that thing somewhere over here so I can connect it, and then yeah, and then I'm good to go for just walling everything up. Another thing I want to do tonight, I was looking at the fridges online. I don't think I marked it anywhere over here, although this is supposed to be 3 foot. So this is 3 foot high. The fridge I was looking at was 30 something inches high. I forget the exact, maybe like 32, 33 something. So it would have been just under 3 foot. It's pretty small. I don't like the door setup. Like the storage space on the door is pretty much useless for me. Like it's mainly meant for like cans, and I don't really drink soda. So I wouldn't use it really for anything. So I was looking at one that apparently it has the same width and depth, but it is an extra foot higher. So I want to see where exactly that would land over here, and see if I would end up going with that. It's really not much more expensive, and apparently the electrical on it is very similar. I looked at I forget what it's called, but it tells you like how much electrical you should expect to use in like a year for it, and it wasn't really different at all. So I'm thinking I might end up going with that one and having it go up to be like 4 feet, which would be, you know, somewhere up here, and then just have the counter, you know, down here. It would, you know, eliminate some of that counter space. I would still end up having something up here, I'm sure, some space between the cabinet and the fridge, where I could, you know, just store some stuff or whatever. Just have it on there. Wouldn't be usable for like, you know, cooking on or anything. But I feel like I would get a lot better storage space in the fridge for it then, even just adding that little bit of, you know, extra, like apparently from what it says online, everything else is the same, depth, width, and everything, but just that extra, you know, foot of height there would really give a lot more space in the fridge, a lot more usable space in the fridge. So I'm going to do that measuring, and then I'm also going to, yeah, like I said, hook up those annoying yellow things that are a pain in the ass, and, you know, tape them off and all that. And then I'll do my little test on the lights to make sure they work. Alright, so I just switched those around. One wire on the back here came out, so I squeezed it back on there. These things are all a pain in the ass. I'm just hoping that they all stay on there once I actually wall things up, but if I flick that, boom, light. So like I said, last thing to do with this one is to get that other negative going on there so the switch lights up. And then that'll be all good. But I am ready to go inside and eat. I think I need to add more cardboard under this because this is doing a lot of squeaking when I'm stepping on here or something. I don't know. I'll figure that out. That's just another project to deal with at some other time. But yeah, so that's it for tonight. I did do that measurement over here. So 4 foot will be here. Believe it said it was like 46 inches high, so it would actually sit a couple inches lower than that. So yeah, I think I will probably end up going with that larger one, because like I said, it won't take up any more floor space according to the measurements online. It would only be taking up more space here, and I mean honestly even this is still, you know, usable space really. It's, you know, it's higher than the other one, definitely. Like down here is closer to like waist height. Can't really film this properly, but up here, you know, it's I don't know, like a high standing desk height. I don't know. So yeah, and it would still leave, you know, whatever size gap that is. I didn't measure it, but it would leave that much space in between there and the cabinets up top. So yeah, I probably end up going with the taller one then, because it definitely has a lot more room in it. Yeah, that little fan is still going good. This fan still works fine. Hasn't been doing a whole lot this week because it really cooled back down. So I think I only ran one day for a little bit. But yeah, I'm glad that I finally figured this out. I was ready to lose my mind on this company again when they sent me those, and they once again didn't work. But I was like, you know what, let me try one thing. And I talked to some other people, and they said, yeah, same thing. They've never heard of a white wire being the positive and a black wire being the negative. The only time the black wire is the negative is when you're working with red wiring. So yeah, so this company, the Max Fan or Max Air Fan, whatever the hell it's called, they did it right. Yeah, I left a comment on, or a review on Amazon telling people, hey, if you're going to be ripping these wires apart to hook it up to a 12-volt system, is backwards, so just be aware of that. Alright, so I'm ready to get out of here and get some food, and then tomorrow, like I said, first thing will be running that last wire there, and then I guess just figuring out whatever part of the wall I want to start screwing around with. I'm going to get that hooked up over there, so it's good to go, and then maybe I'll just start over there, because then I don't have to worry about working around the window quite yet. Do the easier stuff and just fill in all this stuff, and that way I can kind of properly hook up that thing into a spot. It has spots in the back where you can, basically put a screw in and hook it on there, and get everything else squared away here. Put in more insulation, because this is where most of the added insulation is going to be, because it's all wide open here, whereas over there I'm going to be working around the window. So get that taken care of, and then yeah, this wall will be all good to go. I only have this much wood to work with for the walls. I bought everything that they had when I went there a couple weeks ago, whenever the hell it was. So I can't imagine that's going to be enough to cover everything if you're, looking from, especially that area where it's really working from pretty low down to high up. Over here, I got this higher spot here, so it's less, but still, I don't think that's going to do it. To be able to cover everything, so I'll eventually end up having to get something different, or try to order more online and have it shipped to the store or something. But yeah, that's it for tonight. I'm gonna stop rambling and get the hell out of here. So tomorrow, first thing, negative wire, and then working on walls and shit. It is Saturday morning. It's actually way chillier out here than I expected, so I think I am gonna go grab one of those little heaters, bring it out here. And then, like I said last night, I'm going to be getting one more thing of that black wire from that box over there, and running it from the, that little thingy, the top little plug there, down through that hole that is just getting so packed at this point. It's probably going to be pretty tough to get through there. I might end up having to undo some screws over there or something, and then connect it to the little fuse thingy over there, and then that'll be all set. I do want to switch out. I think I still have a 10 fuse. Yeah, I still have a 10 fuse for one of the lights from when I was testing to see if that would make it work better. So I'm going to switch it out with the 5, because the 5 is working for whichever one of them. I think the top one is hooked up to the 5, and that worked fine. So I'll just hook up the 5 on there, so they're both running off the same thing, and then that'll all be set. So yeah, I'm gonna grab that heater, get that last bit done, and then I think it'll be time to start working on probably this wall. I think. I don't know. I'll figure out which one I want to do first. Okay, so I got that negative wire. You can see right there, up through there. So what I did, I initially tried to go through over in this area where there's, hard to tell, but there's less cords over here, and it just kept going up and getting stuck over and over. So I actually put it in where there's a whole bunch of wires down in this area, and it kind of just followed the wiring, then kind of got stuck with those and went up, and it was easier then, and then I just pulled it up through. So I'm gonna go ahead and use the crimper thingies, strip off the end of that black wire, put on one of the little yellow, actually not that kind of yellow one on that end. This one needs the that kind, the one that can. Actually, no. This one needs one of the blue ones. Never mind. Neither of those. I have to find where the blue ones are and connect one of those. Yes, they're probably somewhere in that box of electrical stuff. And then I'll get it hooked on there. Do the tape around it, all that stuff, and then figure out how much length I need and cut that wire down there and connect it on there, and boom, that light will be all set up. Oh, and I did just check to make sure that this worked over here. I checked the top one. I didn't check the one for the bottom because that's not currently attached right now, because I took it all down, switched it out, so it's not up there, so you can see the hanging right there. But it did work just fine with the switch and everything. So yeah, time to get that little blue thing connected there. Okay, so I have that all connected there now. I also I noticed I didn't put tape on one of the connections there, so I took that off, put some tape on it, connected it back up. But you can see these are 2 negatives going to each of the switches there. I don't have the lights connected to anything right now, but just so you can see, there's the one light. So that's for the top lights, the lights that will be going along the actual ceiling. And then this one I switched out to a blue one right now. Actually looks kind of purple on the camera, but it's blue. Like I said, came with also yellow and green ones too, but decided it's real quick, easy to switch them out. All you gotta do, these aren't actually crimped on there because there's really no way to crimp it. You just slide them on and off, so I just popped those 3 off, popped on the blue one. But yeah, they're both on, and like I said, no lights are currently connected, but in theory they should all be working now. So I think before I start working on this wall, I'm gonna at some point I'm gonna pick up like zip ties or something like that to work on, especially like down here. The wires are just crazy, and then even going up here, they're kind of all over the place. So just to help organize them and condense them down a little bit, I'll do that. So in the meantime, I think I'm gonna work over here. It was starting to drizzle out there when I was first coming out here. I don't know if it still is or not, but I'm gonna try to get some insulation in here without it getting soaking wet, and kind of finish stuffing in all that area that I need to stuff in, and then I can start working on hooking this up, getting it all in place and having it connected and making the wall all over the place and everything. Once I have this in place, I can also put that last piece of plywood up here and also work on getting stuff done over here as well. I'm gonna check the weather though. Hopefully it's not supposed to. I thought it was supposed to be not raining at all, still the ground and everything be wet, but I thought it was supposed to be no rain this weekend, but we did get at least a little bit of drizzle, so I'm gonna check to make sure. Hopefully it'll be dry enough to get some cutting done, because I should be able to finish up the plywood going all along over here. There's a cat wandering out there. I don't know where he went. Disappeared. Okay, so there was a cat. Anyway, so I think that's gonna be. I'm gonna check the weather, and as long as it's gonna be good, I'm gonna work on getting all this plywood done. I'll need to have this in place before I do that, obviously, and then stuffing this with insulation, working on the wall, getting the power bar, whatever the hell it's called, hooked up here, and hopefully, as long as the weather holds up and nothing crazy happens, maybe I'll be able to have this whole section of the wall finished. One big thing that could change that is I don't know if the wood's going to be enough to fill this or not. Hopefully it will. I think it will. But like I said, they don't keep this very well stocked. That's everything that they had, so we'll see. Alright, so I'll check the weather, and then we'll get back to doing whatever the next project is. Okay, so I have that mostly filled. I don't want to get too crazy with it and have it like spilling out while I'm trying to do work over here. I just ripped up some of that wool stuff and stuffed it in there until it's that height. So it may or may not end up raining. I checked the weather on one phone and it said no rain, just cloudy, and then I checked the other, said it might end up raining at some point today. So while I think it actually is drizzling again now. Seemed like it was starting back up when I was out there. But it's not like downpouring or anything. So I think I am going to go ahead and try to work on these pain in the ass pieces up here. First I need to get this in place though, so that way this wire will be behind that wall piece instead of in front of it. So yeah, I need to adjust a little bit because right now it's going in front of the window, so it needs to kind of come back a little bit, some of the wiring, so it can go around and up and then over here. Yeah, and then I'll connect that little thing to do the last bit of wiring going from here up to, you know, wherever it has to connect, and that'll be all good. Okay, so I got that wire in a better position now, going up, around, then connects here. I sent this wire through here. I was able to get this through here. This one's too big, but this one managed to get back here, just a little bit of pushing. And you see there's plenty of wire still back there. And then this is that power surge protector thing. Main reason I went with this one over other ones is honestly just because it looks way nicer than the other ones. But it seems to be like really heavy duty. And it's pretty nice to actually separate some of them out. So if you have awkward shaped plugs, fits in here better. Yeah, so that's all in there. I don't really have anything in here right now to test this out with like AC power. I did test that out directly in the inverter one time and it just started beeping like crazy, so it definitely won't run off of that. But maybe I'll run inside and grab something, like a phone charger or something, and flip that on and make sure it's working. I don't think I even have that turned on right now, so I'll have to turn that on. So yeah, I'll be back and test this out. Okay, so if you look, let me do over again. There we go. And can't really tell, but there is lightning bolt, which means it's charging. So I got that clicked on. You can see the green light. Click that on, and the power's going through it. So there's also a little light in the thing there. I don't know why. I guess that must have been a feature that I didn't really notice when I bought it. But that's just gonna be like stuck behind a wall. So whatever. Let me see if I turn that off to that. Well, that's not even part of that plug, so that stays on. Weird. I don't think there's any way to disable that. I feel like it's just kind of somewhat of a waste of power. If there's no light on this part, I don't know, maybe that's if you're using it outside at night, it's easier to find or something if you lose the end of your cable while it's still plugged in. But I mean, you just follow the wire to the end, whatever. So it works. So it definitely started raining a lot more now. I don't know what the hell Apple weather was saying there no rain, just cloudy all day, but it definitely started to come down a bit harder. I don't know how long it's gonna last. So I'm gonna try to get as much work as I can done. But I mean, I can only put up so much wall before I need to start cutting more stuff. Yeah, I'm gonna have to kind of take some time to think about what I'm gonna work on today, because that was kind of my big plan, was working on, you know, once I get the lights on and this connected, boom, it's time to start working on these walls. But now suddenly it's raining when all week has been saying it's not supposed to rain on the weekend, and it's not the best conditions for cutting wood when the wood is in the process of being wet and you have your saw out there in the rain. So I'm gonna try to figure out what I'm gonna do in the meantime, and see if the weather says anything, like when this is supposed to be ending, because I'm really only going to be able to put up like one of those pieces over here, and then I'm going to have to stop because I'll need to cut the next piece. So alright, I'll figure out what I'm doing and then we'll do that. Okay, so I have no idea when the rain's supposed to end. It's not even supposed to be raining right now according to the weather, so clearly whoever's in charge of doing the weather app stuff today doesn't know what the hell they're talking about. So I'm going to go ahead and start working on just this first piece here. And that way then I can get this hooked up and I don't have to worry about it falling and breaking or anything. I just have to figure out, as far as putting on here is real easy. You know, just connect it, and then maybe connect it here as well. Like I discovered over there, ends up being kind of weird if you only connect the ends. So yeah, so there's that. Actually, I will end up needing to cut off part of this so I can connect the other piece. Damn it. Anyway, also just trying to figure out this wire here somehow needs to come through somewhere, so that way this can, you know, be out here. I mean, that's not terrible, it's just that there's a huge gap there, so I need to figure out how I'm going to make some type of, you know, hole or semicircle or something somewhere on here that that wire can get through, and then this can lay flat on top of the other piece that's down here, that plywood. Also, apparently, I totally forgot that I need to cut off over there so that piece can be hooked up properly. So I do need to do some cutting, so I'm gonna go ahead and open up the door, try not to destroy this as it attempts to fall here. So I'm gonna stop filming, but I'm gonna see what it looks like outside now, and maybe there's a quick break in the weather and I can do some measuring and quick cutting. Okay, so I made that little cut there and cut at that end, so it lines up here. However, something that I was not thinking about when I was making this part of the wall, I was thinking, oh, this is the wall that's behind the counter stuff, so who cares exactly what it looks like as long as it's, you know, functional. Turns out it's not as functional as I thought. So I am putting this piece on top of here, and this is obviously flat. However, if you look on here, there's that piece, and then there's like a lip here, and then it continues, and then there's another lip there. So these are not all nice, even, and flat. They're like at slightly angled and higher and lower. So I'm trying to figure out how I'm going to get this on there in the best way to not have a bunch of gaps, but there are going to be some amount of gaps just because of the way that this is. So yeah, I am going to try to figure this out. And that wire is pretty intense over there, so if I have it, actually the wood, I can try to do this here while I'm filming. If I have it where this wood is all the way down here in this corner, so it gets really, ends up being angled up over here, it actually works out for that wire because it can sit in there. But if I try to like even it out somewhat and, you know, make it a little bit flatter and have it, you know, lift up here and then not lift it up and lift up more, then the wire has some more issues when I try to bring that power thing up here where it's going to be placed. It doesn't really want to bend that way. So I might end up just saying, you know what, if it works this way, I'll just put it all the way over like this and have it be like that, and then that power thing will kind of cover up some of that gap that you would see there anyway. The only issue that I'm worried about is the insulation being all in here, and having gaps like that. I just don't want to end up having insulation, you know, little bits of it, obviously not like chunks of it are going to be falling out of there. I've had this stuff up here for how many weeks now, and I haven't had really any issues. But, you know, it's over time. I don't want insulation to be like little bits of it coming out and stuff. Not that it's like toxic or anything, but still, just it looks weird, and it's, you get itchy if you get it on you because it's wool. So yeah, I'm gonna debate on how I want to do this. I don't know why I didn't think of this as I was making this wall, that this needs to be more exact, because there's going to be wood sitting on top of it, but that's how it is now. I'm not going to take this all down and try to recut it and everything, so I'm just going to work with it the way that it is. And once I get in the first, you know, two pieces here, then everything else can basically just go right on top, no problem, in theory, until I get to the top, and then there's unevenness up here already that I see. Alright, so I'm going to work on getting this piece in there, however the hell I'm going to do it, and then attaching that thing on there, and then, yeah, that'll all be set up there, so then I should be able to stuff in a little bit more insulation behind there then, as long as it's not raining again. Right now it seems like it's lit up a little bit. I don't know if you can hear that. There's some loud ass geese out there flying. Yeah, and then as long as the rain is still not going crazy, I might go ahead and get that last bit done over there, so that way I have a straight line going across and I can put the insulation there, and then I'll get working on the top row up here. Okay, so there is that piece in there. I didn't attach anything in the middle yet, but yeah, so this can just go up and however connect like that. So I ended up lifting up a little bit over here, so that way it's a little bit less extreme over here, but it did have to be lifted up good amounts for that cable to get through there and bend properly to get in position. So I'm going to work on that now. I'm getting the screws in place for attaching that thing, and that'll be all set then. I think I need to get up my half-inch screws though, because I think the 1-inch ones are going to be kind of overkill. So I'll get those in there and figure out how the hell I'm actually supposed to do it. It has, you know, this setup where basically you just, you know, screw the screws in here, and then you just line this up and put the screws in the big circular parts, and then just slide it one way or the other, and it kind of locks it in. So somehow I have to figure out how I'm gonna figure out where the screws have to actually be placed on here. I'm not a big fan of this style unless there's only one. If it's one, you just put one screw in and then pop it on there and you're good to go. When there's 4 of them, where are they? There they are. 1, 2, 3, 4. You have to somehow get 4 all perfectly in the right spot without having this on there. As far as I can know, yeah, there's no way to like pop this off and put the screws on there and then pop it back into place or something. So yeah, that's gonna be a little bit of a project, but somehow I'll get it on there. Okay, so I've been struggling with this thing, trying to figure out how I'm gonna line this up. Open up the instructions, see if they have anything to say, like if you're supposed to pop off that back part or something. Turns out there's a whole thing in here. You're supposed to like cut this out, and then you can use that to figure out where you're supposed to put this. So that makes this a lot easier. So if you buy the specific brand, whatever the hell it's called, I don't know, 360, I don't know. Apparently, they make this. So I'm gonna go ahead through these instructions and get that up there and figure out where these screws are going. Okay, so that little diagram made it way easier. So it's on there. I might put the screws in a little bit deeper. It has a little bit of wobble because the screws I only put in, you know, just enough so they were hanging in there. But yeah, it's in there, pretty secure anyway. So that's all good. So I guess it doesn't seem like it's starting to rain again, I don't think. So I'll work on getting that piece cut out and then stuff some more insulation down into there. And then I guess it'll be time to start working on all this fun stuff up at the top. Alright, so got that little piece attached and then also stuffed up some more insulation in there. Gonna start measuring out these pieces up here so I can get those going, and so far hasn't started raining again, so I will work on, after I do the measuring, getting these pieces cut out. Obviously these are just a huge pain in the ass over here because of that wire, so I'm gonna end up cutting more weird ass shapes like that, but whatever, I'll get them cut out. I'm just gonna work my way down the line here. So this one will be pain in the ass because this wire, but that's okay. It'll be normal. And then this one, as I'm putting it up, I'm gonna have to try to get these into place and keep them held down. This is pretty big, even compared to, you know, this piece of wood here. It sticks out further than it, so I might end up actually having to like cut around that kind of. But yeah, I'm gonna try to get these, you know, kind of held up in place and figure out where exactly I need to sit and everything, and then get that piece in there. And then that last one, I'm just gonna work around these. I'll just kind of get these out of the way because these aren't going behind that wall or anything, because they're for the lights. So obviously I wouldn't want that behind the wall, the outlets for them. I'm just gonna be dealing with this part of the wiring and then this weird shit over here. Yeah, and obviously there's not going to be a connection up there, kind of like what I had to deal with on some of these. I can't, screw it all the way at the very top. I have to screw it in somewhere lower than that. So here I'm going to be screwing somewhere down here rather than up there. But yeah, so I'll get those 3 pieces going, and that'll finish up all the top over here. And then, I don't know, we'll see what's happening after that. If I can get all that done before it rains and see what's happening, and maybe I'll get some more of, maybe I'll end up doing the top stuff over here since the wiring's done, and I can work on that. But one step at a time, we'll see how far we get before any rain might come back. Alright, so got that first piece in there. So this whole front section is done. So now I'm gonna start working on that zone down there. Yeah, this one was a little bit less awkward because this part is actually pretty flat, so I didn't really have to do any cutting there other than just around the whatever that thing's called. Alright, we are getting some sprinkling of rain, but nothing too crazy, so I'm still just working on cutting. So far it's okay. Okay, so this piece is by far the biggest pain in the ass so far. This whole side seems pretty good, but this side I have it all chopped up and it's still sticking way the hell out. This piece is so big, I think I need to cut out more over here. Also all the wiring, both the yellow wire along with that black tubing stuff going on through there. I think I need to chop off a bunch more. So I don't think there's even going to be a screw going in up top here. I think I'm going to end up cutting out going like all the way down like that to be able to get this in there. So it's probably just going to be this screw down here along with the screws over there. Yeah, I've been chopping the shit out of it and it still won't fit in here. You can see bottom's getting closer right there. The bottom's actually not bad once that wire gets the hell out of the way, but the top is just keep cutting and keep cutting, and it just doesn't seem to be really getting any closer. Once I get this little bit cut here and that fits better, that'll be a little bit closer, but I think still with all of the wires going through there, especially because these wires are going in front of that tube, that kind of stuff, so just adding that much more to it. So I'm going to keep working at it, and eventually one way or another this is going to get in here, even if I can only put 3 screws into it. Okay, so this is what we ended up with. Not perfect by any means, but the top here helps hold these in place, so they're not dangling or anything. And I end up doing one there and there, so it does have 4 screws in it. Just looking up here on this side. So yeah, pretty awkward shape, but it's in there. So now next one to do is down here. Hopefully this one's a tiny bit easier, although I feel like it is going to be somewhat awkward because it's kind of going to be somewhat of an angle here. Going to have a kind of a curve along with going around the weird cable stuff, that black stuff there, and then the little bit right here, and dealing with the cable going over here. So it'll be a little bit strange, but hopefully should be easier than that one. So this piece is turning to be more of a pain in the ass than I expected. I already know I screwed up that corner, but basically I'm trying to get up here so you can see. Basically, because of this curve and because that wiring, how it sticks out where it does, and this where it sticks out where it does, I can't really get it into any correct position as far as like to the top or all the way over this side or anything. So I ended up messing up and thinking I was cutting the right amount off there, but I actually cut way too far in. Because once this actually is in place and it's all the way over there, there's going to be a big gap up there, but that's what I think I did something similar with that piece way down there. So I'm just trying to figure out how the hell much I'm supposed to cut off of here, but this wire is sticking out, so I can't really get it into the right position to figure it out. So I'm just going to take it kind of cut by cut, not do anything too crazy all at once, and eventually hopefully get it in there. I am still cutting this piece. I haven't been filming a lot of updates, but I think I literally listened to an entire album worth of music, and I'm still working on this same freaking piece. We did get a little bit of rain, and now the sun kind of came out, and now it's kind of going behind clouds again. As you can see, at least right here, I'm pretty close to getting into there. I can't really tell up there. I imagine I'm probably have to cut out junk up here, but I can't even really tell yet because I need to get it at least flat with this piece of wood first before I can really tell what the hell I need to do over there. So yeah, so it looks like I need to cut a little bit more off over there. Maybe a little bit that's going underneath that wiring there. And let's see, maybe a little bit more at the top. I don't know. I'm getting closer. It's definitely, for some reason, shorter, even though I made sure it was 14 inches, but I don't know. That one's hanging down kind of like there's a gap there, so maybe that's why there's a difference there. I don't know. But yeah, you can see that's where I screwed up at the start when I cut the wrong part. So I'm just gonna keep going, and hopefully it's only a couple more cuts and it's in there. Alright, that piece is finally in there. You can see how awkwardly cut it is. There's that screw up I did. Cut out around this big ass wire, around this wire, and then all the weird cuts I had to make because of this curve going down. But it's in there. And these are on the right side of the wood where they're supposed to be, so I can hook up the lights eventually. So yeah, that's finally in there. So now I guess it's still chilly out, cloudy. Once again, had maybe like 1 minute of sunshine and then it went away. But yeah, it hasn't started like all out downpouring. We've just been getting sprinkles here and there. So I'm gonna see if I can keep working on cutting wood and getting it in here. So, oh, I can. Oh, it's raining again. So, but I'm gonna see how much more I can get cut. As much as I don't want to cut more stuff that goes up here because it's such a pain in the ass. So this is really gonna be a pain in the ass now because I'm dealing with even more wires. And then over here, I'm gonna be dealing with this curve again, like the other side, but also with a bunch of wires in the way. The nice thing is that there's no stupid black cable going along here really, other than right along that very edge it's there, but otherwise it's okay. But I know it's just going to be a pain in the ass dealing with this over here, so I'm gonna measure, and as much as I don't feel like doing it, I'm gonna do it because once I do it, then it's done. So yeah. Words. Okay, so there's that piece. This one was definitely a lot easier than the last two. Had to make a notch up there for those wires, but they're all good. And obviously I had to make some weird notches going around that thing. But otherwise, pretty straightforward. So now the next one is, and the last one, for the this top plywood kind of stuff. I still have to figure out what the hell I'm going to be doing all along that and with the door, and then also I have to figure out what I'm going to be doing all along these strips, because it's got all that weird black cabling coming in and out of there, but it also has all those open spots where the insulation's sticking out, so I kind of want to do something there, but I just don't really know what or how I'm going to do it yet. But yeah, so I'm going to work on this chunk over here, figure out how I'm getting all that taken care of. I'm probably gonna have to take this stuff down temporarily just to get it out of the way. Yeah, because that's gonna be just in the way while I'm trying to work with it. So let me just get that out of there. All right. So yeah, gonna do the same thing. Just measure. I'm gonna measure the longest spot here at the bottom, and this is obviously gonna be 14 inches like it is for all these pieces, although they end up being slightly different sizes every time somehow. And then it's gonna be similar to how I did this pain in the ass one. I'm gonna have to cut around that bit. Gonna have to deal with a little bit of this cabling here, not a whole lot, but there's gonna have to be somewhat of a curve going around that, and then just the angle going down that way. So it's gonna be a pain in the ass, but it doesn't seem like it's gonna be as much of a pain in the ass as this one on this side, because this one had a lot of shit going on with it. I do need to adjust this wiring here though, because this needs to go further back towards that corner. Right now it's kind of sticking out here, and that's not going to work. So I'm going to adjust that to make sure it's okay when I put that wood up there. Okay, so this is where we're at. It's 1 p.m. and it honestly looks like the sun's about to go down because it's just been so dark and cloudy all day. I got this piece partially there, getting closer and closer to getting in place. I did attach that and that back into place since I'm done with all that wiring. So that's all good, looking better there. Don't have just random pieces laying around there. So yeah, I'm just gonna keep making more cuts on here, and sooner or later it's gonna fit in there. All right, so it's in there. Not as crazy difficult as the other side. However, this one, because it went all the way up to the top, and the top is more, leaned in as it goes up. This one doesn't go all the way to the top because it's blocked by this. So this board is actually more recessed, or whatever you would want to call it, than this board. So there is kind of an angle to it. I don't know if you can really see that in the video. Yeah, so it was a little bit awkward. I thought it was kind of stuck on something in the corner or something for a while, and then I realized that it was stuck up here for a little bit, but I got that cut and I was like, it's still not laying flat. And I finally realized, oh, the boards themselves are on a level thing completely. So yeah, so it's in there, all good. Yeah, so that's all in there. It is just so chilly and just dark. Just can't wait until there's actual sunshine out there. And it's just been on and off drizzling here and there all day. So I guess I should probably pause and eat some lunch, because I know it's past 1, because I checked the time earlier and it was already 1. It was probably already like 1:30 or who knows what time it now. So I'll eat something and then I'll come back out, and I'm debating if I would rather work on this area of the wall more or that area of the wall. Well, I'll do one of those. This one will be nice because you can start dealing with some of these wires and stuff, but that one seems like it's going to be pretty simple, so I'm also tempted to do something simple after dealing with all of these pain in the ass cuts. Only thing I'm worried about with the wires is them slipping out. I had an issue where, I think it's this one, I don't know, one of these two, where sometimes they do slip off of here, because like I said, they're not crimped or anything on here, but the wire itself would slip out of the blue sleeve, or whatever the hell you want to call it, even though I have it crimped and taped. So it popped out again a little while ago, so I put it on there and crimped it again with the tape around it, and it seems to be holding a little bit better now. So I'm hoping that when I'm putting these wall pieces up and the wires are kind of shifting a little bit, that everything will still be okay and it won't, end up having things disconnect, and then I'll have to try to figure out where they disconnected from and taking out wall pieces and stuff. So yeah, alright, so I'm gonna get out of here, take a little break, and then I'll come out and start screwing around with more wall stuff. Okay, so back out here. So before I add any more wood from the pile over there onto here, I'm gonna go ahead and add screws into that spot and that spot, so that way they're not kind of like bowed out like that. I did put up the test piece over there, and it seems like it's a little bit wonky. So this piece appears to be a tiny bit higher than this piece, so when I put it on here, it ends up being slightly angled up, and now when I put the other one on there, now there's a slight angle to that one. So I'm not sure what I'm gonna do about that quite yet. I have to work out something with it, figure out how to make it fit better. Just realized there's a big ass gash right there. Huh. But yeah, I'm gonna add those screws in, and then I guess I might as well add a screw here, and I guess try to get this back off of here and do another one in there if I can. I'm not sure where the screws are in this, if that'll be kind of the way, but I'll at least add one here, and then we'll take it from there, figure out how the hell I'm gonna get wood on there to lay kind of flat and not get more and more crooked as I keep going up. Okay, so I initially tried was grinding the edge down with the that metal grinder thing. It wasn't working well enough. It's really hard to do because it's such a small edge on there to work with. So I've been taking it off, cutting a little bit off, you know, then putting it back on, tracing kind of what needs to be cut, taking it all back down, putting it back up. It's a pain in the ass, but I think I'm getting a little by little closer to having it actually lay flat, because right now, if I just put this up here, you can see if it's totally flat on that side. You can actually see like wires through there and stuff. And then if I were to kind of flip it, you can see a gap down there. So it's definitely getting better. Let's see, I feel like the gap was. I feel like now it looks like it's worse because I flipped around the other way. Maybe it is, maybe it's not. I have no idea. But I'm gonna keep going at this little bit over here, and hopefully it'll start getting flatter and look better. Okay, so that one's in there. I cut off that edge so I can fit on the next piece on that half. Did a good amount of trimming here. I do need to erase some of those pencil marks there. It lies pretty flat. You can see there is a slight lift at the very end there, but I think it still works fine. So yeah, I'm gonna clean that piece up there, I guess, erase off those pencil markings, and then I moved that wire a little bit more out of the way so I can work on the next piece. I gotta measure for that, get that cut, and then get that one in there. And that one in theory shouldn't have any issues because there's no boards that it's just going along that one piece of board there, so it shouldn't have any issues of lying flat, hopefully. Could be wrong, I don't know. So yeah, so I'm gonna do the measurement and cut that next one out. Alright, so here's the next piece cut. I don't have it screwed in yet, but I just want to show you. So this handle here, actually just the very edge of it goes back to where this wood is. So I ended up having to make a little notch here, if you can see that. But now it fits in there. Actually fits really snugly, so it's staying up. Usually these pieces immediately fall over when I put them up here, but this one is kind of stuck in position there. So I'm gonna go ahead and put those screws in, and I feel like it's super angled, that piece. I don't know, it's hard to tell. Maybe, I don't know. Just seems like it's really like it goes up. If I go down here, maybe, I don't know. I guess I'll find out when I do the next piece and I see if it's really screwed up looking or not. So yeah, all right. I'm gonna put that one in there and then figure out what the hell I'm doing next. I have a feeling the next piece, just from eyeballing it, is gonna end up being really weird to work with because it's gonna end up being over that size, so I'm gonna have to cut it going lengthwise, and I haven't really had to do that with any boards yet, unless you count like the floor or something like that. But having to cut going all the way across the longboard like that, kind of frightening a little bit. But then I'm gonna be one step closer to being able to actually put those in a proper position in a wall instead of dangling out like that. Alright, let's get this screw stuff done and on to the next pain in the ass thing. Okay, so I think I almost just screwed up, but I caught myself. So I was measuring to cut here based on just holding up there, and I put the pencil behind it, just traced it, and I made that line right there, and it ended up being one notch over 1 inch, whatever the hell that is, 16th. I don't know how many goddamn notches are on there. But, so I was just measuring that and making lines going throughout. But I realized that whatever wood I'm putting on top of here is going to add height to it. So I have two options. I could have that wood go on top and extend from, you know, the windowsill over all the way on top of this wood, or I could have that wood go on top, extend to, you know, right here, the edge of this wood, and then I have this go up and cover that wood, which I think would probably look better, because instead of having, you know, if I did it the first way, I would have this wood going up, stopping, and then the edge of a piece of wood, sticking out. Whereas if I do it the second way, this will go up, stop, and well, I guess still on top. Then it'll be, you'll see the edge of this, but whatever, that's not a big deal. So I think what I'm gonna do is figure out how I'm gonna do that piece going across. I think I'm actually gonna use like one of those 3/4 inch pieces. I held it up there and the window still moves. It still everything seems fine. So I think that's what I'm gonna go with. I just need to figure out, I guess, how long it's gonna be and how exactly I'm securing it. So I really can only put it in those two places. I could have like a screw going down right into the 3/4 inch posts there, whatever the hell they're called. And yeah, so I guess so I don't think there's really any good way to attach it to like either of these sides. They're just gonna kind of be just up against those sides. Unless I did one of those weird angled screws, but then I feel like it's gonna be kind of sticking out and not look nice. So yeah. Alright, so let me do some measuring, figure out how big of a piece I need. I have a couple back there, but I don't think they're going to be long enough to stretch all the way from that board to that board. And I'll figure out how I'm doing this and what the hell I'm doing. Okay, so I got it cut lengthwise, and I got it in there. It's really tight fit, so I had to kind of hit it with a hammer. Not really kind of bash the shit out of it, but that's all going to be covered up, so whatever. A little ding on there, that doesn't hurt anything. I could always spin it around the next time I put it in there. Maybe I'll end up with it looking nicer. But now I need to figure out how much I'm chopping off of here, which is pretty difficult because, like I said, with these pieces, they weren't actually like level. Definitely the same situation here. I think that's what's might be causing some of the issues with the unevenness here. With how I thought this was like bowing out or something, but really it's just this piece is more in than the other piece. So yeah, so if you can look, there's just a tiny little nub right there, barely anything, and then you go over here and there's a lot more under those, and then you go over there and again just a little bit. So it's definitely not even all throughout. This one is definitely the one that's the most forward, it seems like, which is weird because this is like a half piece. I'm not really sure why that one seems even more forward than like this piece that goes all the way up and down. So if you can look here, and it's next to nothing, and then this is quite a bit more. And then those two are a whole different story. So I have to figure out how the hell I'm gonna cut this out. If I'm gonna just say screw it and do it all one size going across, or if I'm gonna like somehow make the marks underneath here and then just kind of angle the whole thing through as I cut, going deeper into the wood and then coming back out more. Yeah, I'm not sure how I'm gonna go about doing this. It looks nice on here though. It's a nice little windowsill going on there. Yeah, I'm not 100% sure how I'm going to go about cutting that. This is going to be pretty tricky stuff. And then you figure that big piece there has to then somehow go across it. Okay, well, this is going to require some thinking, so I'm going to pause it here so I'm not just recording forever while my brain gets confused. And then I'll, as I figure it out, I'll work on it and show you what the hell I come up with. Okay, so just to show you how different those levels are. So here's the marking for where it meets up with that post. Then it drops down to that far. And actually, even this one I don't think is even in line with that one. They seem to be slightly off. And then it goes way the hell up there. So somehow I'm going to cut that out into a shape that makes sense and put it back in there and screw it in. Let's see what the hell happens. Okay, so this is the craziness that I've come up with. So my plan is basically just cut it kind of in somewhat of a curve going from one side to the other, and then hopefully it fits and I can screw it in there, and then we'll take it from there. Okay, so there it is in there. Yeah, I think it looks pretty good as far as how well it's gonna work. We'll find out, I guess. Yeah, next step is to now start working on this. I do have to put screws in here somewhere, figure out exactly how deep I can go with them, because I'm only going into that 3/4 inch thick piece there. So I'll probably just put one there, and yeah, then it's going to be time to figure out what the hell I'm doing with this now. Now that piece, let me try to get that in here, line it up. Okay, maybe I can't do this while I'm holding the phone. I need to get that. There we go. Okay. So yeah, so as usual, it's that because of the way the wood is. So not really surprised by that, although I should have probably thought about that. But anyway, when I screw that in, hopefully that'll pull it in a little bit, even though this is a 1/2 inch thick, so it's not as flexible as like the plywood stuff. And hopefully it just kind of fills in that gap there. If not, then I guess I'll be using a bunch of that wood filler stuff I have or something, I don't know. Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and get this little one in place, and I'm working getting this big one in place. There is a bit of a overhang here, but I don't think I'm even gonna bother chopping it off, because I don't know, it's kind of nice, like if you put something on here, I mean you can't fit a whole lot on here, but it adds like a lip to it, so it's less likely to slide right off. There's something that kind of helps hold it, and because it's less work to have to chop that off, so fuck it, I'm not gonna chop it off. So I'm just gonna get some screws going here, get that stuff in place, and see what the hell it ends up looking like. Okay, so this is what I was afraid of with putting screws into something this narrow. It actually started pushing this out. So I think I'm actually going to leave this part alone until I get this in, and then maybe having this wood up against it will help it in some way. I don't know. And it's starting to rain again. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and work on this piece now, and then come back to that and figure out what the hell I'm doing with it. Okay, so here it is. There definitely is a bit of a gap going along there. So next time I know, don't go perfectly along with the curve, leave a little extra, because this stuff isn't gonna curve with it necessarily. I did get it to go in a bit from how it was, so it did close it up a little bit, but I don't know, I guess I'm gonna try to fill that in with something, although that goopy wood stuff tends to like sink, I feel like, so I'm not sure what I'm gonna put in there. I don't know, maybe I'll end up just putting some of that sealant that doesn't level off. Maybe that'll work for that. I don't know. But for right now, I guess I'm gonna work on figuring out how I'm gonna do that screw over there, especially now since I can't even really see the board. And then getting this piece done over here, and then that way then that'll be covered up, and I'll try to get that screw in there nicely, somewhat, kind of. Okay, so I kind of screwed up again. So when I originally was working on this piece, I knew that it was slightly off, so I planned on having this side down and this side just a hair up, and it wouldn't be noticeable because it's off in the corner by all that wiring. And then I got so distracted by this piece that I forgot about it, and I screwed up and left up this side. I figured I had already made basically all the holes, had most of the screws in, so I was like, you know what, I'll leave it. It's not that big of a deal. And I just put up the other piece I just cut, and it's really noticeable that that is screwed up there, and it's right on like the window ledge there. So I'm going to go ahead, back those screws out, try to use the same screw holes on the board itself, so I don't make a whole bunch of new holes on it or anything, but just re-angle it and see if I can get it to go in and have it be this side down and that side slightly up, and that way then in theory it should line up much better, that board with this board, and look less terrible. Okay, so that piece is in there. This was really hard to get down and try to get level with this. You can see there still is bump there. I ended up having to use a 1.5 inch screw instead of a 1 inch just to get it to really catch and hold it in place there. But it's in there. And yeah, so I'm glad that I ended up fixing that issue with this one, because now this part is basically perfectly level, pretty damn close. But there is, this issue where it's not flat perfectly, but whatever. Still looks halfway decent. I just realized I have that all closed up and I didn't stuff any extra insulation back there. Oh my god. So I think I'm going to have to take off. Oh my god. Son of a bitch. Okay, I'm gonna have to undo some stuff here. Go grab some insulation. Hopefully it's not raining at all. I don't think it is right now. And I'm going to get the insulation in here, stuff it down in there carefully with all those wires that are back there. Trying not to screw them up and make any of those stupid yellow plastic things disconnect. And reconnect all this stuff. Oh my god. Alright. I'm gonna go get the insulation. Okay, so insulation is all stuffed back there. I can add more down here in these open spots, but all the closed-in spots are stuffed up to the edge of that, windowsill there. These things are just a pain in the ass. I tell you what. The weird thing is, this is a size 12 wire. These blue connectors are supposed to be a smaller size than the yellow ones, which are for a size 10 to 12, and these are like 14 to 16 or something like that. And yet they don't stay in here. I crimped the crap out of them, and I mean, if they pop off here, it's still a pain in the ass trying to make sure that I put the right one back on the right one, for these two positives. But when they pop out of this part, when the wire itself pops out of the stupid connector, it's just a pain in the ass. So I don't know what else I can really do about it, but it's definitely just stupid. I don't know, but hopefully I'm almost done with dealing with that stupid crap, and once they're stuck in the wall, they just stay connected, I hope. If not, then that's going to be a shitty day when I try to turn on the lights and they don't work, because then I have to take apart the wall and reconnect everything. So, alright. Debating if I want to continue with this wall, going up, or if I want to now switch over to this wall. I also have to think about how much more wood I have, because once I run out, I don't know how much Lowe's has in stock right now for this kind of stuff, because I don't have to be ordering more of it online. Yeah. I only have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 more full boards. Although the nice thing is that some of these smaller pieces that I have left over that weren't big enough to use for down here, I actually can use for these parts going along the side here. So yeah, let me see. Those markings still on here with that. I'm gonna do a quick measurement, because I think I might be now above that 3-foot mark where I wanted that counter to be, lining up over here. So now if I put in another piece, I should be able to start hooking in things like that USB thing and these pain in the ass lights. And yeah, so let me do some measurement, because I don't see the line. Okay, so some loud ass tractor just rode by, but I did the measurement and we are now above that 3-foot mark. I think it was like 38 inches or something like that where this piece ends up here. So yeah, I can figure out what piece I can put in this little area, and then try to figure out how the hell I get all that stuff actually properly installed now, so it's not just dangling out of the wall, and hopefully install it in a way that the wires don't constantly fall out of it. Okay, so I was ready to just cut the wood, and I measured it and I was like, alright, that's it. And then I realized this big ass gap over here. I can't just go cut it, so I need to get a piece fit in there, basically just like this. Yeah. I'm just trying to think, should I do the one along the top first? Would that make more sense? And then do both of the sides? Or how do I want to do this? Let me do some planning and thinking, figure out how the hell I'm making this happen, and then, yeah, I'm doing something. I'm definitely, before I can do anything over there, I got to deal with this, but then I don't know if I want to deal with this before I deal with this, so I'm gonna think about it and then get back to it. Okay, so I'm gonna go with the top one first, because I figured then once I have that in place, the side ones will basically land here, go up and hit wherever that top piece is. But right now I wouldn't know how high to make it because there's no real reference point here. I would just have it going up forever. Jeez, that insulation. So yeah, so I have that one, so I'm going to do one going across here, and then either side, doesn't matter which one I do first, I guess. But yeah, just work on the side ones. Yeah, just every time you're like, oh, I'm going to do this next, and it's like, wait, I have to do 10 other things before I can do that thing. So, alright, so I'm going to, I measured, and it's basically, it seems like the same exact length, like a hair under 35 inches. So I'll go get that cut and bring it in here, try to make it fit, and then do the same thing, just tracing along all the different spots. But this one, now I'm a little bit smarter. I know to not go quite to that extreme and leave it a little bit more flat as opposed to, you know, super curved. Alright, so I'm going to go measure and cut that wood and get it in here and see what happens. Okay, so this one is actually not as snug of a fit as the last one was, although there we go, now it's kind of holding there, which really sucks though that it's not holding as well as the other one, because this one has to be held up as opposed to being on top of something. So yeah, it's holding at least decently right now, so I'm gonna go ahead, try to get this in place. If I have to use the hammer a little bit, I'll use that. I also need to make sure that this actually will like line up nicely and it's not going to be too low. Yeah, and then I'll make my markings and work on that. And this piece has a split on it. I don't remember buying one with a split, so I don't know if it happened while it was out in the rain. So I'm going to purposely make that split on the outer part, so that piece will be more likely to be cut off than the you know, nice non-split side. Okay, so this one here isn't even really touching it because this one's so low. And then if you look down here, it is just blocking some of the actual, you know, window, like the visible part. So I'm not going to take this piece outside because I would have to undo both of those entirely, and then undo this from the metal, take it all out there, cut it, put this back, put those back. So what I'm thinking is bringing the saw in here and just clipping off just the very edge. Obviously I'll have to get this out of the way while I do that, and that way hopefully I should be able to bring it up enough that it'll be in contact with this and be able to see out it. If I bring it up and it's still not good with the window, I'll have to take a, you know, bit off that and bit off that again, but just give it just a light trim along the edge, and hopefully that'll raise it up enough to get it to where I need it. Yeah. The strange thing though is that this one seems to be way more out than that one was. If you look, there's barely any stuff to cut off here at all, just like over here, but then as you get further down, it gets more that needs to be cut. Kind of weird. Alright, so I'm gonna get this piece out of the way and then go bring that saw in and try to carefully, without destroying anything, without putting the saw blade through the window, just trim off that edge there. Okay, so I made that first cut. It made a mess in here, but it definitely got it closer, but this is with it kind of angled right now, so if I actually make it more flat, it's touching here now, so that's good, but it's still blocking some of that window. So I think I am going to take another bit off here as well as a little bit off here. Try to get it a little bit better of a fit. Man, there's just wood everywhere. Yeah, so just checking that everything's still connected over here. Alright. Yeah, so it's definitely a mess to do it in here. So maybe a lesson to learn here is check this before you start installing everything else so you can fix this outside. But kind of too late for that, so I'm going to go ahead and pop this back out of here and take another bit off each of those, which will make even more of a mess, but hopefully it will allow me to get this in a better position that I want it in. Okay, so it's in there. It does go to the very edge now, so you can actually see out the whole window. I might trim off a tiny bit more, just because these pieces are a little bit angled, so they're not really like fully touching there. Because if you ever try to do this, it's a huge pain in the ass. If you want to stay down kind of level, eye level with the drill as you go, so you can keep an eye on like what you're cutting, make sure you're going in a straight line. But when you're going like up against a wall like this, you have to kind of stand more upright, and put more force into it to try to get it going through it. So you can't stay kind of hunched down like that, nice and low, and hence the fucked up cutting. Not that I'm perfect at cutting in a normal circumstance anyway, but still. So I might trim off like that little corner there. Maybe same thing on that side, and then Jesus, someone just ripped out the freaking wires with the back of the hammer there. Yeah, that is right up on that edge. So I'm kind of just debating if I want to do it or not. Let me see. Make sure everything kind of functions properly. It works all good. Okay. Yeah, I don't know if you could hear that. I just burped really weird. So I think I am going to give it just trim on those edges, so hopefully it'll be a little bit flatter and it'll give it just a little bit more of a lift, just because I can tell that it's off the window, but really if you're looking quickly it looks like it might be covering part of the window just because it's like right at the very edge. So I figure if it gives me just a little lip like that, it'll look a little bit better. Okay, so I made those little cuts there. This side is definitely raised up a little bit more now. There's more of that black showing a little bit. This side seems to be pretty much the same, so I think I'm going to take another little bit off there. Figure, screw it, I already made a huge mess of wood shavings in here anyway. Might as well just make sure that this looks nice, and I'll deal with this mess some other time. So again, I'm going to pop this off here, take a little bit off, and yeah, I think I'm only going to do that side because this side looks pretty good from what I'm seeing. So yeah, I'm going to go ahead and shave off a bit more over here. Okay, so here it is. I think this is going to be, besides, the cut that I have to do along the very edge here, which is not a whole lot over here. I do need to take out a little bit so the wall sits flush on it. So I got to take off a little bit, but then down there it's much more that I got to trim off. But as far as these pieces, I think that's going to be it. You can see now there's a good amount of that kind of black window, whatever the hell it is going around there. Yeah, I think that looks good. So you can see here, looks like there's a little bit gap going through pretty much all of that, and then same thing over here for the most part, other than that corner. I don't know. I hit it with a hammer quite a few times on either side, and that's as high as it was going. So I figure something's stopping it from going any further. So, alright, so I am gonna go ahead and do that tracing along here. Oh, almost just ripped that out. I got the phone here on the charger. So yeah, I'm gonna do the tracing for the spots where it actually meets up with these, and then try to somehow calculate how much I should or should not actually be cutting off, and then cut it, and hopefully it looks good and get it put in here. Okay, so here is that piece in there. Did one cut along that line that I made, and then sorry about tilting the camera all crazy. I still have the phone plugged in, so I have a limited range. This part was hanging out a little bit, so I trimmed that down a tiny bit. And just from testing it by putting one of those big wall pieces on there, seems like it should lay decently flat with everything. Shouldn't have a bunch of large gaps like that one does. So yeah, so I guess I'm gonna attempt to get screws going up into those somehow. And then I have to check the time. Let's see, okay, so I should still have time to mess around with figuring out what the hell I'm doing over here. I need to make sure that's not going to block the window there. So I guess this side, there's no problem. I have more than enough space. I can easily put one in there. But this side, I'm a little bit more worried about ending up blocking the edge there. So I'm going to have to test that out and see what it looks like. Because if it does, then I might end up having to put the piece behind this, which would kind of suck because it'd be pretty difficult to work with it going like that. And I guess I would have to try to hold it in place because it wouldn't be resting on this. I have to just kind of hold it in place and screw in through here somehow. So hopefully the 3/4 inch board doesn't cover up too much over here, but I don't know. We'll find out. Okay, so I tested it out just by putting it sideways, and it seems like it should be okay. So I cut out one that's 7.5, which should be close to the right height. It might end up being a little bit too big, but it's hard to tell because I can't get it in there because this piece, like I said before, has a lip on it. So, and because this can't fit completely in there because it's too wide right now, can't really get a good read on how tall it's supposed to be. So I'm gonna have to pop this off, so that way I can get it in there flat, or attempt to, and figure out, do I need to cut off more or not? And then once I eventually have it in there properly, then figure out how much I'm cutting off from the edge of it. Okay, so I took off that board there, obviously. Managed to get this in there. It did end up raising the back of this up just a tiny bit, which I'm not really worried about. I would rather have it be slightly raised up. Yeah, so there's that. Should only need to take off the tiniest bit for most of it. As you can see, for whatever reason, I'm not really sure why, because it seems all even in here, but the bottom seems to be sticking out and need to be trimmed more than the top. But I'll just make a little line going on there and trim that off. I really need to make sure I'm looking at the camera instead of just looking at the real stuff, because I'm just filming random things. So yeah, so I'll make the line, trim that, and then this one I am going to do the holes going into here, which will end up in here. And then I'm going to go ahead and repeat the same process over there just to get it done with, and that way the whole window will be kind of boxed in here and be done. Yeah, so these side ones seem like not that tough really compared to the pain in the ass of the long ones. Okay, so that one's all the way in there. Got 2 screws in it. This one seems to be like the same size. This one might be a little bit tougher because I'm going to be basically just lining up with just somewhere over here. It's not going to be pressed up against here. So yeah, and I'm not really going to have anything specific to attach to other than, I don't know, I could go down from that piece into it, I guess. But yeah, so I'm going to try it. Okay, so I removed that piece, got this in here. So this one, the top part is already like lined up, because it can go in further because it's not up against, you know, any of the plasticky black stuff that's popping out, or against the even the van wall itself. It's kind of in by the window. So the only thing is I can't really trace a whole lot. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna trace out the bottom, where it lines up with this board, and then I'm just gonna make just a straight line going from wherever that line is up to this corner, and just cut along that and figure that should be pretty good. And then once I put on the piece of the wall that's gonna go from that corner attaching to there and then onto here, hopefully it lines up halfway decently. If not, then I'll figure something else out, I guess. So yeah, and then it ended up being a little bit shorter than I wanted to be. I should have went with like maybe like 7 3/4 or something instead of 7.5, but it'll still work. So yeah, my plan is to do that tracing, make that cut, and then I'm just gonna do for now one screw going down into it, and hopefully that should do a good enough job holding it in place there until I get a wall piece going there to there, and then I could add another screw right into there. Alright, so I'm gonna do that tracing, get out there and cut it, and do some more updates along the way as crazy things happen. Alright, so there it is. The window is fully boxed in there. Oh my god, I'm getting pretty exhausted at this point. Trying to think what I need to do next. I know that all really started with wanting to work on that, but do I need to actually do anything before I do that? I don't know. You know what I need to do? I need to figure out what's happening with this section, because here I'm going to have pieces coming down. I'm not sure where they're going to end. If they're going to end nice and neat like this did, or if I'm going to have to trim them. And then there's this zone. I don't know if I should start up here. I don't have all that many pieces left, so I'm trying to think if I would even be able to finish up here if I started up there. I don't know. I'm gonna figure out what I'm gonna do. I think I need to sit down for a second and kind of come up with a plan of the next step, because I'm running low on those boards, and I don't know if I have the energy today to deal with now making all those stupid assholes. Oh my god, that one came disconnected again. God damn it. Alright, well at least it's the easy one to fix. Just pop it back in here. It's not the whole red wire came, not so easy to fix. It won't freaking stay in there. Come on, get the fuck in there. Okay. Those are gonna be just fun trying to get stuck in the hole with those wires. Oh my god, I'm not looking forward to that. So that's not happening today. I already settled that. That's not happening. I'm gonna work on some other shit. Alright, let me think about what I want to do, and then I'll do that. Okay, so in order to do the little switches, not my finger, there you go. That, nope. Okay, I'm just thinking my finger down here. In order to do the switches, I need a 3/4 inch hole bit thing, and the smallest I have right now is 1 inch. I need to look up that size and see what size I need for that. I think I need something a little bit bigger than 1 inch for that, if I remember right, because I feel like I was gonna just use 1 inch and then just widen it up with the drill. So yeah, so that's off the table. That's not happening today until I pick up that bit that I need for the switches, which I'm fine with because they're just a pain in the ass and I don't feel like dealing with them right now anyway. Trying to thinking about possibly doing the box around this window, because I kind of, as I was doing that, I was realizing more and more that it made more sense to do that before you have those wall pieces there, because they just end up getting in the way for some of it. So I'm thinking about maybe just doing that. I think that's what I'm going to go with, because I got some at 3/4 inch that's just sitting outside, and it's just been getting wet all week basically, so I would like to get it inside here and actually use it before it continues to just get rained on more and more, as we get endless rain apparently and absolutely no sun ever at all. So Van Week I got really lucky with. I got some sun and not rain, but now that has gone away and it feels like it's just a warmer winter. Just no sun. Instead of a bunch of snow, it's a bunch of rain, windy. So yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and I guess start messing around with this, measure it out. Oh, that fun stuff. Cutting off the excess stuff without hopefully cutting off too much, like the one there that has the holes in it now. So yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and get started with that. There's gonna be just about quitting time because I'm going to dinner soon. So this will be definitely the last project. I don't know if I'll finish this project because this stuff kind of takes a little while with all the different kind of cuts I have to do on it. So, alright. I'm going to grab the measuring tape and get to work here. Okay, so what I did this time was I cut it from this to this and kind of ignored this so it has a lot more overhang. Might end up being too much, I don't know, so I'm going to go ahead and I guess throw up like a test board, like grab one of the big ones and see what the hell happens with it. I don't know. I mean, imagine it's going to lay flat because it's going to be laying along that, but it's just then like how much of a pain in the ass is it going to be to get to connect properly with the screws. I don't know. I'm going to do a test to see what the hell happens. Okay, so can't really hold the board up there while filming, but it looks really good going along here. Like it's pretty flush. You know, there's only, you know, a couple little spots here and there where, you know, it's not cut in a perfectly straight line. There's gonna be some wiggles in there, so I don't know how practical it's gonna be once I try to connect it under there, because I mean, you can see some of the overhang there. Yeah, so I'm not sure how well that's gonna work out, but I don't know. I figure, screw it, why not try it out. If it ends up not working out once I actually start building up this wall and, you know, it doesn't line up quite right, I can just take out that little piece, and I already have the markings on there for the where these spots line up, so I can just kind of go based on those then. So for right now, I guess I'm gonna just put the screws in those two, and then I'll start working on the one for up here, and then if I have time I will do side and side. Alright, so here is the top piece, you know, partially cut and in there. It's actually already like a really good height level, so I'm not gonna do anything with these, thankfully, because that just makes a huge freaking mess and it's a pain in the ass. So I'm just gonna mark out, is that even a word? So I'm just gonna mark out these spots, figure out how I'm gonna cut this, and yeah, and then I'll pop it back in there, do the screws going up into those spots, and I think that piece should be done then, hopefully, as long as everything goes well. Okay, so that piece is in there. I have to add the screws going in from underneath there, but otherwise seems to fit good. I haven't done any tests with, you know, putting a board up to it or whatever, but I don't know, we'll find out how well I did, I guess, once I'm actually making the wall. So yeah, I'm gonna add those screws, and then what time is it here? I think those screws are gonna be the end of the day. I'm gonna work on getting cleaned up, both the van and myself, because I'm covered in wood shavings and insulation. Yeah, so we're so yeah, I'm gonna get whatever mess is in here cleaned up, try to sweep it out somewhat. That area is a disaster from you know, sawing the pieces. Yeah, so gonna get those screws in, clean up, and that'll be it for today. Tomorrow I guess I'll work on finishing up that and whatever else I can get done. Maybe I'll make a Lowe's run and grab zip ties for all those wires over there, because it's a disaster. And what the hell else did I need from Lowe's? Oh, the bit to be able to put the light switch in. Alright, time to put these screws in. Good morning. It is Sunday, So I just got back from Lowe's. I picked up, they had 3 more of these boards, so I got 3 more. Accidentally fell all out like that. They kind of slid all out, but there's 3 new ones. Also in the bag got zip ties to try to organize this disaster over here, and the 3/4 inch bit that I need for properly installing those pain in the ass light things, which again, I didn't even start working or anything yet today, and somehow it already popped off of there. Yeah. I don't know how I'm gonna get those to stay on there. I don't know if I don't know if I can, but if I can put like some glue in there or something. I don't know if that's like a fire hazard or something, but this one seems to be staying on, but I don't know. This one just does not stay on there. It just always falls off. Right now, I can just pop them back on, but once it's in the wall, if that pops off, I gotta take that whole wall piece off of there to get to everything. So I don't know. I'm gonna have to figure that out. But for right now, I'm gonna work on finishing up this zone, those 2 pieces over there, and I'll whip the zip ties over here, because that should hopefully just be a quick job. Hopefully it doesn't result in all these wires popping out their yellow things as I organize this stuff. Yeah, and then once that's done, then I guess I will work on some more wall stuff, since I have a few more pieces, not a whole lot. Online it said they had 4, but I only found 3, so we got 3. Along with, I think I had like 5 full-size ones left yesterday or something like that. So, who knows, maybe that'll be enough to get this wall done over here, because the sides don't need full pieces. Obviously, they can use some of the scraps that I have, like that piece and stuff. And then up here, I don't know, I might only need like 4 pieces, like maybe 1 there, 1 that connects over there, and then down here. I don't know, maybe I'll end up needing 3, I don't know. I think I actually measured it out yesterday, and I think I do need like more than 2, like I need like 2.5. Anyway, so yeah, I'm gonna, I might just start with the zip ties, get that done. Hopefully it's gonna be a nice easy thing, be done with, and then I'll get to cutting all this fun stuff here. Okay, so I gotta cut off the ends on those, but as you can see, much more organized over here. Still a lot of wires, but at least they're all grouped together. They're not just all over the place. Yeah, so I put a bunch on here because 1 or 2 was not going to be enough to organize that mess. So yeah, pretty simple zip ties, nothing crazy. So I'm gonna go ahead, grab those crappy scissors, chop off the extra flappy part on it, and then I will get working on the windowsill. Alright, so this is the first piece I got cut here. I didn't actually cut it widthwise yet. It lines up almost perfect already. I'll still make a line and cut off the very edge of it, just that way the wall piece will sit flat on there. But it's actually pretty close, which is kind of crazy. So yeah, I'm gonna make that cut and get that one in there. So that one is in there. I did end up splitting that a little bit, but that's okay. It'll be, this will be all held together with the wall piece on top. But something I just noticed, I'm working on this piece now, and there's a gap here because that stuff ends on the window, and same thing over here. So I'm gonna end up having to fill that with something. I don't know what yet. But as you can see here, the insulation's like just right there. So I don't want anything falling down into there, just like I don't want anything falling down in there. So somehow I'm gonna fill that all in. Anyway, for now, I'm gonna figure out how much I need to cut off here and get that last piece in. Okay, so that side is done. I'm working on filling in these gaps now. Got that piece, it's holding in there. I added a little wood glue here in this corner. I don't know if it'll necessarily stay there once I start driving around and stuff, but we'll see what happens. I'm gonna work on doing the same thing over here now. Okay, so I got most of the gaps up here filled in. There's still some small ones there I might still try to work with. I don't know. Yeah, I didn't do anything with that side yet because I figure when I'm messing with the walls and stuff, it might end up just like falling out anyway or something. So I'll just wait until that side's closer to being finished before I start filling in the little tiny gaps. So yeah, I might keep messing with some of these ones that are still there, but it's definitely a lot better than it was before. There's definitely far less chance of anything falling down there. Alright, so I'll see if I have any pieces tiny enough to fit in any of these gaps. And then I will, I guess, start working on some of the wall stuff. Okay, so I got that first one in there. I made the cut for this one, the initial cut. But I'm going to have to do some adjustments because we have a curve over here. Down there was pretty flat, so I didn't have to deal with that. But over here, I'm going to have to make some adjustments to it. Okay, so that one is in there. Took a while to get that cut. I want to make sure it looks halfway decent since this part of the wall is going to be, you know, visible. But it's in there. So now we have to work on this next one. So it's going to run from here to the midway point on this one. So I made lines. I held up the board, made lines. I'm going to have to measure because this, again, isn't flat over here, so I can't just measure from anywhere. So I want to measure at the bottom, or it's going to be at the longest point of it. I'll cut that out, and then I'll have to do the same thing of just taking it down little bit by little bit until it fits in there and lines up with the halfway point there, and then I can do the other part that fits over there. Alright, so this is what we got so far. Next is working on this piece right here, which should be pretty easy. Just got to measure, cut, and hopefully will fit right in there. Okay, so that piece is in there. I actually had one of the leftover pieces that fit like perfectly in there, so I just put it right on up there and screwed it in. Alright, so I think it is time for a lunch break, and then if I have time this afternoon, I know I have to do cooking and different things like that, but if I have time, I guess it's going to be time to work on this road that's going to be going on here. So once I have the height for that all set, then I can work on the sides and know, you know, what height I'm working with that, because I don't want to put in, you know, something that's going to be too high over here and then have it screw up with whatever's going up here. So I want to make sure that that part is all good and set in the right position, and then deal with the weird side parts, because those are, well, at least this one's going to be a major pain in the ass anyway, so I might as well just make this part easier on myself. Yeah, and that part is also going to be somewhat of a pain in the ass because I need to somehow have those light wires coming out somewhere, and so that way I can hook up somewhere over there. I guess I'm just going to make like a little hole on the side and have it just go through there. But this one's going to be a real pain in the ass. Alright, so yeah, I'm going to go grab some food, and then if I have time, then this afternoon, like I said, I'll be out here screwing around with that stuff.